Welcome to Eye on Africa. I'm Clarisse Fortuné. These are the top stories from across the continent. Fresh violence is sweeping across Nigeria. 15 people killed in Katsina State, while deadly explosions rocked the northeastern city of Maiduguri, leaving at least 23 dead. A surge in attacks raising fears of worsening insecurity across the country. In the DR Congo, talk of a third term for President Félix Tshisekedi is growing louder. As allies openly back the idea, tensions are rising with an opposition that says the constitution must be respected. And in South Africa, tens of thousands of abused children never get a chance to speak in court, too traumatized to testify. Now, an unusual ally is stepping in, specially trained dogs helping young victims find the courage to tell their story. A new wave of violence is shaking Nigeria. Gunmen have killed at least 15 people in attacks on villages in the northwest, while in the northeastern city of Maiduguri, coordinated blasts tore through a busy market and surrounding areas. At least 23 people were killed and more than 100 wounded in one of the deadliest recent attacks on the city. The surge in bloodshed is raising fresh concerns about security across the country. Sam Olukoya is in Lagos.
The suspected suicide bombers targeted 3 of the busiest parts of Maiduguri in an apparent attempt to inflict maximum casualties. The 3 targets were carefully chosen: a busy market, the entrance of the largest hospital in northeast Nigeria, and the post office area in the central business district of the city. Videos shared online after the incident showed the disturbing images of lifeless bodies and other people that sustained life-threatening injuries. No group has claimed responsibility for this deadly attack that claimed the lives of at least 23 people and left more than 100 others injured. Suspicion for the attack easily fall on the jihadist group Boko Haram. Boko Haram has carried out hundreds of suicide bombings in Borno State and other parts of northern Nigeria as part of its violent campaign for the introduction of Islamic rule. Boko Haram has killed thousands of people through suicide bombings since 2011. The group is notorious for using captive women and children for suicide bombings. While Boko Haram has significantly reduced the intensity of its suicide bombings in recent years, this latest attack has raised concern that the group may have chosen to return to the days of mass killings through suicide bombings.
And President Bola Tinubu has expressed his condolences to the victims and ordered local security chiefs to take control of the situation in Maiduguri as he left the country for the first state visit in Britain in nearly 4 decades. Aline Botin has more.
A historic visit. The President and First Lady of Nigeria arrived in London on Tuesday. On the agenda, a meeting with King Charles on Wednesday and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer on Thursday. Although Bola Tinubu has visited the UK several times since taking office, this is his first visit of this diplomatic significance. The last state visit by a Nigerian president was in 1989, when Queen Elizabeth II received Ibrahim Babangida.
I think and I also hope that this visit will also bring a good improvement to some issues which are affecting the Nigerian as a whole. And also when he's back, you will also see a way he can address major issues in the country.
This trip is part of an ongoing strategic partnership established in 2024. The discussions will focus on reinforcing bilateral trades between the two countries. Nigeria is the UK's second largest trading partner in Africa. They will also cover military cooperation as Nigeria faces a growing jihadist insurgency.
I want to believe that the signings that he will be doing in the UK already has inbuilt execution or implementation strategy. If that is followed to the letter, beyond the ceremony of signing, putting pen to paper, I think we can use those opportunities well.
Abuja is seeking London's assistance to develop its infrastructure. The country has already secured loan guarantees for the rehabilitation of 2 ports near Lagos.
Now, a landslide, but no surprise in the Republic of the Congo. President Denis Sassou Nguesso has been re-elected with 94.82% of the vote, extending a rule that has spanned nearly 42 years. At 82, he faced 6 little-known challengers in a tightly controlled race dominated by the ruling Congolese Labour Party. Opposition candidates now have 5 days to contest the results, with the Constitutional Court given 15 days to review any challenges before final confirmation. And meanwhile, across the Congo River in the neighboring DRC, there have long been suspicions that President Félix Tshisekedi will run for a 3rd term. More and more senior members of the government and his political party are making it clear that's the plan. It's setting the stage for a showdown with opposition parties. Emma Livingston in Kinshasa has more.
Over the past few days, discussion around changing the constitution in the Democratic Republic of Congo has popped up everywhere. Long suspected to be in the works, allies of President Félix Tshisekedi are now increasingly forthright about their intention to change the constitution. The president of Tshisekedi's political party, Augustin Kabuya, recently told supporters at a rally that the constitution would be changed. And on Monday, the Minister for Sport stated that the ruling party was gunning for a 3rd term. Presidents in Congo are limited to 2 5-year terms, but changing the constitution could, in theory, allow President Tshisekedi to run for a 3rd and indeed a 4th term. Some members of the president's party say that holding an election is impossible so long as conflict persists in the country's east.
Since 1960, there have been lots of institutional reforms, so this is part of our everyday life. It's by no means something new, but what might seem new is perhaps this reversal of the role of the constitutional revision. Because in 2006, for example, or even 2003, we carried out reforms because we wanted to consolidate the peace we had just achieved. Whereas now, in fact, the aim is quite the opposite. We want to carry out reforms in order to achieve peace. This is, in fact, what the political authorities are saying, that they would like to change the constitution because they actually want to have peace in the DRC. So it's this reversal of the role of institutional reforms that is surprising.
Seeking to stay in power is a move that's high risk and highly controversial. Not all members of Tshisekedi's party agree with changing the constitution, and opposition politicians have vowed to oppose it, setting the stage for political turmoil. The current constitution was promulgated in 2005, designed to end years of civil war. But some Congolese critics say the text is unsuited to the country's current realities.
More than 60 years after the assassination of Patrice Lumumba, a Belgian court has opened the door to a long-awaited trial. At the center of the case is Etienne d'Avignon, a former diplomat, now aged 93, accused of involvement in Lumumba's detention before his killing in 1961. D'Avignon is the only surviving Belgian among those named in a complaint filed by Lumumba's family more than a decade ago. The execution of the independence hero, whose body was later dissolved in acid, remains one of the darkest chapters linking Belgium to the Democratic Republic of Congo. For Lumumba's family, even if there is a victory, the story will not end there.
This is a huge victory. When we filed the complaint in 2011, no one believed we'd succeed in getting Belgium to conduct a proper judicial investigation, that Belgium would be able to assess the evidence that had been gathered and decide that an independent judge should refer this case to court, so those responsible could be tried for a massive colonial crime, namely the assassination of Congo's first democratically elected prime minister.
Even if there is a victory, the story will not end there, because it will set a global precedent for colonial crimes.
At last, Belgium will face up to its past, and will be able to embark on this new chapter in history with dignity, surrounded by our family and our lawyers.
In Sudan, heavy fighting has erupted and at the start of the week in key locations. The Rapid Support Forces have gone on the offensive, attempting to push back the army in Darfur in the west and Kordofan in the south. According to the RSF, one of these offensives is said to have killed around 400 soldiers. More details from our regional correspondent, Bastien Renouille.
The Rapid Support Forces are trying to isolate El Obeid, the capital of North Kordofan. It's linked to Khartoum via only 2 roads, and the most direct one is no longer usable by the Sudanese military. On Monday, the Rapid Support Forces launched a major offensive on the city of Bara, and after a very intense fighting, they took control of the city, killing more than 400 men, according to them. It's a huge blow for the Sudanese military, since they only took control of the city 10 days ago after a very intense battle. Let's also mention Darfur. The region is almost entirely controlled by the Rapid Support Forces, except a city called Tina, located northwest of the region at the border with Chad. It's the last remaining stronghold for the Sudanese military in Darfur, and since February it's under attack. Yesterday, the Sudanese military announced that they pushed back a major offensive from the Rapid Support Forces, killing a commander, destroying 57 vehicles and seizing 38 of them. That's it for the ground battle. Let's also mention what's happening in the sky. Recently, the Sudanese military has been intensifying its drone strikes. They're targeting supplies for the Rapid Support Forces, men, weapons and ammunition, but they're also sometimes hitting civilian targets. Last week, 2 separate drone strikes in Kordofan killed more than 60 people.
Tens of thousands of child abuse cases are reported each year in South Africa. One of the main challenges remains the difficulty children face when testifying in a justice system, often perceived as intimidating. To address this, a unique approach has been introduced. Therapy dogs are now helping children familiarize themselves with court processes.
On Saturdays at the Krugersdorp Magistrates Court, pets are welcome. These dogs even dress up in costumes inspired by the court. There is Diva, the prosecutor, wearing a black and gold robe. Mia, the magistrate, in red. Cody, the Labrador, wears a police uniform, and Linka, in a little pink dress, is the witness.
So Linka plays various roles, and depending on what role she wears will determine what outfit she wears for the day.
These dogs attend pre-trial court sessions with children. In South Africa, nearly 30,000 cases of child abuse are reported each year. For children, the judicial environment can be extremely intimidating. These role-play exercises help them better understand how a court works. After the session, children can spend time with the dogs. Dr. Omar has been working with the South African justice system since 2015.
By stroking the dog, it enhances the serotonin, and the happy hormones, endorphins are released, and they're more likely to feel confident in testifying. And that's something that we've observed, that children who go through this opportunity of engagement with therapy dogs certainly are more competent in their testimonies.
Children leave the sessions much more relaxed than when they arrive.
I have a court case on the 30th of March, and I don't know what to expect, but after today I think I'm ready.
For now, dogs are not allowed to accompany children on the day of the trial, but those behind the program hope that one day it will be possible, as is already the case in Canada and Australia.
And now we leave you with this bizarre wildlife trafficking case unfolding in Kenya. A court in Nairobi has charged 2 men with transporting wildlife illegally after one of them, a Chinese national, was arrested last week for attempting to smuggle more than 2,000 live ants out of the country. The insects were destined for collectors abroad in a growing trend of ant trafficking network. The case is raising fresh concerns about the illegal trade threatening Kenya's biodiversity. And with this bizarre story, we conclude our edition of Eye on Africa. Thank you for watching.